I like you, you like me. If I like you, you like me. If I like you, yeah. If I like you, if I like you, you like me. If I like you, you like me. Why don't we? Why don't
Hello and welcome to the American South, the state of Tennessee, home of hot chicken and country music. We are here with our protagonists. No, not really. Hey, and welcome back to Not Another Couples Podcast. We've been on a holiday hiatus, and we're glad to be here. And today we're going to be talking about a bet that was made over the holidays and the fruits of that wager. I am, of course, Casey, the adjunct GM on Twitch and YouTube, here with my wife, Mrs. Adjunct GM, or Megan.
Hi.
And we're doing Not Another Couples Podcast. And today we're talking about one of my favorite animes ever that has become, I think, one of Megan's favorites, I hope.
I don't know about that, but it was enjoyable. We're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, at least seasons 1, 2, and mostly 3.
Yes. And we'll be continuing from there in future episodes, but we wanted to get this one out for now. Again, this episode was born of a bet. Megan and I made a deal to go vampire for vampire, with me experiencing one of her favorite pieces of vampire media and she mine. So I read the first book of Twilight. I recently finished that.
Much to my delight, remembering a lot of the literature from the book. I have not picked up that book in years, and we got to listen to bits and pieces of the audiobook while on road trips. And
I did go back and forth between reading the text and audiobooks, which I think was the way to go. But man, oh man, was that a trip. And I'm going to be doing a whole episode. I don't know if you're going to join me for it, Megan, but I will be doing
I have some thoughts. I'm going to join you for it because I have my own thoughts, reliving the whole experience again.
But I will be doing a Twilight book report, and we may do some kind of stream or like live watch with the movie.
I need to get you to watch the first movie.
Yeah, we're going to watch the movie soon, and we're going to make content out of it. Man, oh man, is that book terrible.
It's a lot cheesier and pretentious than I remembered.
I have so many thoughts. My main note on the book is, oh, brother. It's just, oh, man. I can't wait to talk more about Twilight. I am fascinated by this book, this silly Mormon book.
Now, so far, it's just the first book you've read, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Though I have New Moon ready to go.
I have thoughts about New Moon, but I'm going to save it for the podcast episode we do Twilight on. I'm going to save it.
So just in brief, I will say that I enjoyed reading Twilight in the way one enjoys watching, like, The Room. It was a fun, bad book to read. The cringy teenage angst of it all. It was like reading a K-drama, I think, or maybe a less well-written heated rivalry, if I want to be timely. We might have to do an episode on heated rivalry.
I don't know. The Koreans did it first, but that's my take on that.
My one question is, Megan, do you think Jonathan Joestar could successfully slay the Cullens?
Now, I'm going to say yes, and here's why. The lore of Twilight and vampires, there's a lot of logic and reasoning behind it, however flawed that reasoning is. When it comes to the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you will often find logic goes way out the door. And
now, I think Araki, the artist who created JoJo's, likes to think of the work as being slightly rooted in anime physics. But I do agree. But I also think that Jonathan Joestar is too much of a gentleman to hurt the Cullens. His heart would burn well for Dr. Cullen.
I was going to say the Cullens are actually quite peaceful But if there were ever a reason that they would have to go to blows, no, Jonathan Joestar would still win.
Yep. With Edward would awaken his stand probably like Pearl Jam or The Cure. No, his stand would be The Cure for sure.
No, it would be Muse.
It might be Muse. Or no, who's the artist who did the
I don't remember. It's like Blue Paradise or something like that.
That's who, though. It would be that.
Oh, now you're going to make me look it up.
Bella, witness my stand. Ha.
It's Blue Foundation, not Blue Paradise. I got the blue part right.
Okay, yeah. So Edward's stand would be Blue Foundation. I buy that. It makes people really uncomfortable. It also takes the gamma out of the atmosphere by like 30% to make everything a little grayer. Have you ever seen the YouTube videos of people that take clips from Twilight and take the filters off so it's normal lighting?
Yeah, no, I see that all the time. That's exactly what they did when they were filming Twilight, is they had just filters on all of the cameras.
And if you take it away, it looks like a bunch of theater kids LARPing.
Yes.
It's so
yes,
good.
Actually.
But anyways, we're going to get on to the thing we're mostly talking about, which is, again, one of my favorite anime that I admittedly was a little resistant to watching at first, too.
Now, why were you resistant to watching it at first?
Because I had a lot of other things going on in life.
That's your excuse. That's your excuse. Okay.
No, I was just in the middle of a bunch of other things at the time and didn't want more. But I immediately fell in love with it. It's so good. But Megan, why were you reluctant to get on the JoJo train?
It's so weird. And I still think it's so weird. I have different thoughts as to why it's so weird. A lot of it I knew had animal violence in it, and it does, which is one of my hangups about it. But we admittedly skipped over quite a bit so that I could avoid some of the more gruesome things. I still ended up seeing more animal violence than I cared to see. So if you are sensitive like I am and are considering giving JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a try, know that there is some animal violence. And you explained to me the reason why that happens.
So Araki, the writer and artist for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is on record saying Araki, from what I have seen, is a very like good is good and bad is bad type of writer. Does not play a lot with like shades of gray as far as the morality of his characters. He's also on record saying if you want to show that someone is evil, have them hurt a dog. And he hits that very early. Again, spoiler / trigger warning, in the second episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Jonathan has this dog named Danny, and his newly adopted brother, who ends up being the villain throughout all of JoJo's, Dio, puts Danny in a charcoal furnace and burns him alive. And it's there you set up that Dio is an irredeemable, ultra evil villain.
Even before that, when he first arrived at the Joestar Mansion, he kicked the dog in the face.
Yes. Dio is evil it's maybe the most evil anime villain, other than maybe Griffith from Berserk.
He's up there, that's for sure.
Definitely up there. Dio is a reviled character, and yeah, just real bad. And even after he's dead and gone, his legacy persists throughout the manga and anime.
So, for one reason, it's just weird. It's still weird, but kind of a charming weird now a little bit. And then the animal violence, yeah, I worked on that a little bit.
I also think JoJo's is a little bit the female gaze. You got a bunch of like positive masculine beefcakes going around supporting one another emotionally.
I always think the character design is just them being so overly muscular is also very weird.
But they're also emotionally intelligent for the most part.
It's definitely a choice. Everybody except one.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But that's why we skipped season 1. We went to season 2 and started it.
We started on it, and
we got through the San Viento fight.
Sort of. Yeah. We started to get through it, and I was enjoying Joseph Joestar, and then we're like, next you're going to say, and he was so pretentious and funny. I kind of vibed with it for a little while, but
it's wild that as an English voice actor is number 1 from The Kids Next Door.
Yeah, and he's also somebody else from Naruto, and I forgot, but he's in a lot of different anime. But yeah, once we got to San Viento, and another thing I'm sensitive about, a lot of the body horror really started happening.
It feels like you're watching The Thing when the Pillar Men are on screen, because their ability is biokinesis, and they're like futzing with people's bodies. It's a lot of the reason why I skip some horror movies is I cannot stand body horror. I can't do it. Yeah, it gets real Dead Space at certain points. It's a lot. So I definitely understood that. So I kind of walked her through what happens, and we watched YouTube recaps of those first 2 seasons.
Which was enough for me.
Yeah, I relented on it because I feel like JoJo's hits its stride when the stands come into play. I do wish you had had a little more time with Joseph to like understand who he was as a young man versus who he is later on as an old man, when he has an American accent now for some reason.
I thought about that. I think it's because he spent so much time in New York City. Right? Would someone's accent fully change like that? I mean, it can happen. I mean, some people pick up on the accents when they live there for a certain amount of time. I guess that's because he spent his youth in England, but then once he goes to New York City and marries Susie Q, he spends majority of his life in New York City.
So that's something I didn't catch until we were rewatching it. I thought he grew up in New York. I thought that Arena got to America from that cruise and just stayed there. It didn't really register to me that she went back home to England and that they were there on a trip. And when we were rewatching it, I heard that, and it was just something that went over my head. But it also makes sense that Joseph doesn't understand some of the social problems in America early on. Because he's sort of weirded out the way that Smokey is treated. Not that England and London didn't have their own similar issues, but not as bad as New York at the time would have had. But yeah, I don't know. Joseph is really good. And I was talking with one of my dear friends who is a big JoJo's fan that introduced me to the series. And Joseph is his favorite. And Joseph is right up there for me. He's probably number 3. But I definitely get that. Joseph is such a good character, and I wish you'd gotten to spend a little more time with him in that regard. And he's a wife guy in the end, which is fun.
Oh, I mean, that's very obvious. He's definitely about the ladies.
Yeah, but
as in in a chivalrous way. I have a hard time saying that word.
Yeah. So that's why we skipped seasons 1 and 2 and went straight to the season where stands come into play, which I've told you for context for those listening. Araki, the author for JoJo's, seems to get bored pretty easy with content of I've been writing in this thing and I feel in a rut and I don't want to write about this thing anymore. Got bored with the first power system that he wrote for JoJo's and moved instead to this new thing that's astral projection based with stands. And Megan hasn't gotten to the origin of stands yet or where they come from, but that's revealed in later seasons. But I think the show really hits its stride when that comes into play. So now we go on to Stardust Crusaders, season 3, the one with Jotaro Kujo as the main character, the 3rd JoJo, or the 4th JoJo if you consider that Jesus, son of Joseph, is the first JoJo. But Jesus is the first.
Well, you have to think for a second, actually, because
there's got to be more. I saw
in the recap YouTube video that I watched. Technically, there is a son, another Joestar, between Jonathan and Joseph.
Not
but he's
called JoJo, though.
Not called
Not a
JoJo.
JoJo.
There is technically a Joestar in between them, but not a JoJo. You're right.
The nickname typically skips a generation.
And it did skip from Joseph to Jotaro, so.
Yes, that won't always stick around, but for now, it has skipped a generation.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to Jotaro Kujo, probably the most popular JoJo.
Voiced by the impeccable Matthew Mercer.
There you go. And probably one of his top roles. We were sitting trying to like rank Matthew Mercer's top roles. I think this one, his role in Final Fantasy,
Overwatch.
He has a handful that probably rival this. This is up there with the tops, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent as Jotaro, and people love the bad boy with half a hat.
His character design is funny and cool at the same time, if I'm honest. I like his character design a lot.
But yeah, Megan, just overall, what was your opinion of Stardust Crusaders?
I think it was a fun ride. It definitely starts to hit its stride once they get past India. It really starts to pick up by that point. I think some parts were a little bit rushed. There's some that went too slow, but you could probably say that for any episode. The best way that I can sum this up is this is just a boy's imagination.
I was going to say, Megan, several times through watching this, just went, boys.
This is so boy-coded. It's probably the most boy-coded anime, apart from Naruto. Naruto is very boy-coded in a lot of episodes. Yes. In the sense of both Naruto and JoJo's, we're like, oh yeah, well my guy can punch through space. Oh yeah, well my guy can punch through time and space.
You can't do that. Well then my guy, he's immune to punches.
That's exactly what I'm talking about with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Now I want Jotaro to team up with Usagi.
That's why I say logic goes out the window, and it's exactly what this feels like. It's a group of boys riding this adventure together, and it's just them playing in the backyard.
Though it's also far too wholesome for that in many
cases. In some cases, yes, and in some cases, no.
there's a couple of instances. The baby, the episode where they get de-aged is a good example of like,
yeah.
There's definitely some moments in JoJo's.
There's some fan service,
some real anime ass moments,
but there's not as many fan service moments as there are in some other anime. One Piece.
Yeah, and most of the fan service in this is for the female gaze, if we're being honest.
Again, I don't understand the overly muscular character design. It's a choice.
They're very angular.
At least it's consistent.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you, it gets more of that as we go. Every season is just more. You know, that Kylo Ren meme, more. That's what's going to happen with every subsequent season of JoJo's.
Yeah.
It's just going to lean more and more into the overly exaggerated masculinity of the characters. Except for Stone Ocean, which even then, they're very muscular ladies. The Orange is the New Black season.
It's definitely a choice.
But yeah, so that was your first season. So you enjoyed it. I enjoy the inspiration from Around the World in 80 Days. I love that JoJo's pulls from a lot of things for inspiration.
You know what I didn't realize that is probably worth saying? Because it mentioned this in the recap video, though it makes perfect sense. The setting where this takes place is 1989. Mm-hmm. The original manga for this came out in the 80s, mm-hmm. so it would have been in this timeline. I'm surprised it took that long to get made into an anime mm-hmm. to 2014.
So JoJo's has been around for a long time.
I didn't realize
that. It's right up there in age with Dragon Ball Z. Araki and Toriyama are contemporaries, and I think they were friends.
That would make sense. But I see a lot of similarities.
But very different people. And all the mangaka are like have a community, right? They have the younger folks that like align with them, that see them as mentor, like different ones as mentors. Like Toriyama spent a lot of time with Kishimoto, who wrote Naruto, and with I forget the name of the author for My Hero, but they were both sort of students of Toriyama. And Eiichiro Oda was really good friends with Toriyama. For those who don't know Toriyama, I'm talking about Akira Toriyama, who was the writer of my favorite manga and anime, Dragon Ball Z. Sort of a legend in the community, one of the oldest. He was pretty old when he passed away year before last. And I really enjoyed Araki and Oda, who wrote One Piece, and Kishimoto, who wrote Naruto, and several others did letters in memoriam to him in Shonen Jump, as well as doing like his characters and their style. I actually love the community between mangaka. It's really cool. I don't like the toxic work environment. Sorry, I'm getting off topic from our like planned talk.
Still worth mentioning.
Sometime we should talk about this. Do you know like about the like terribly toxic work ethic and like the health problems of manga artists?
No, but it makes perfect sense.
I recently watched another podcast called Otaku's Anonymous, where they played a game like guess the health scare of like which mangaka had this health scare. They are constantly, I didn't realize the average mangaka works approximately 14 to 16 hours a day. And because of like bending over an art table, and they tend to have back and carpal tunnel problems really bad. And I was just reading a thing about all the various health problems. The husband of the author of Sailor Moon, who wrote Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, cannot sit for more than 30 minutes upright at a time nowadays, which is why Hunter x Hunter has gone on break so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I think Araki has managed to stay relatively healthy. JoJo's, he kind of found his thing with JoJo's and has not left it. And I think part of that is that he changes it up and does a different thing every time, so it can just kind of go forever.
I gotta say, I said this before to you, but that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
You never run out of source material because you're always changing the source material to still fit within the same universe.
Yeah,
it's different stories.
And it's clear that he's an avid reader and an avid cinephile, which gives him a lot of like things to incorporate in and draw inspiration from. There will be a character in the next season that I won't spoil too much, but is named Rohan Kashibe, which is a slight Lord of the Rings reference, I think. And Rohan actually gets a spin-off series that we might have to watch at some point. That's a folklore horror story. Like each episode of the life of Rohan Kashibe is a ghost story. Going back to this for the moment, we talked about Jonathan's changing accent. Of course, this is a very Monster of the Week anime for starters.
It really is.
Each episode or couple of episodes is a different encounter. First with Stan users, who, again, and Stan's users are people who are able to astral project this secondary entity that is like a mirror of their soul, that has a power that is based on their personality and life experience. The first and the bulk of the series, though, they are named after the major and minor arcana of the tarot deck.
I think it was the major 13.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
And then after they run out of those, they go with the major gods of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've seen so far. And we'll talk a little bit later that after this season, that goes fully to, we've had a lot of references to contemporary music. That's going to go real hard in all future seasons, as all stands are named after bands, albums, and songs. Until Stone Ocean, where they start to be named after fashion brands.
That makes sense.
So you start getting like Gucci and Balenciaga and things like that.
For it being Jolene's season.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the next while, we're going to get music themed because Araki's a audiophile too. Dude absorbs a lot of media. I feel like he and I would.
When would he have the time, though?
I don't know.
That's what I'm curious about. Is if he's a mangaka artist, a major one, how does he have the time?
Don't know. But what was your favorite encounter of this season? And I think we have the same one.
I have two, actually. I have a tie.
Okay.
So you tell me yours first.
Mine is Darby the Gambler.
That's one of them, because that was a lot, and like in such a dramatic but strategic way. There were several times I paused. This happened a few times while watching this season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I would often pause it for a second, like, he's going to do this.
Wait, what happened?
No, I'm going to be like,
predict.
Yeah, I often predicted things that were going to happen, and then sure enough, a second later they happened. But that would be like the occasional episode or two, like spread out in between throughout the season. This was the one I was like, no, wait, he's going to do this next. No, wait, he's going to do that next. And then the part where, like, right before he said it, I paused and I looked at you and I said, he's going to bet his mom's soul, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Hit play. I bet my mom's soul. No! What? Ah!
So, for context, this encounter in the show is a person whose stand has the ability to, it basically turns it into a Yu-Gi-Oh! Shadow game where people have to bet their souls on a game of chance. And you see, like, the secondary protagonists all lose and their souls get turned into poker chips. And then Jotaro sits down to play poker with the gambler. And this really solidifies that Jotaro is a badass. Like, we know that from previous encounters. He is
not a normal high school teenager.
But in this, he is a stone cold killer. It's just so, it really establishes, like, what you should expect from his character. And I also like that this is an episode that establishes that, yes, it's about power and they fight and it's a kind of a battle shonen, but it's not really a battle shonen. It is like cerebral. It's about people like trying to outthink each other.
Mm-hmm. And that is one of the two that's in the tie for my favorite encounter. The other one I actually really enjoyed was the blind stand user that had the water really one. It's where Iggy was first introduced, and how they got around to defeating him was actually quite brilliant, and they could not have done it without the dog's help, however reluctant he was. But the way, I forget his name, but his stand was called Geb, the Egyptian god Geb, and it was the water hand. But the way he went about taking advantage of his stand's power. His power was more of a support for his own power, which was pretty different because majority of the time users are taking advantage of their stand's power, not really highlighting their own power. This was different.
It's a really good piece of disability, like disabled person inclusion, actually.
Yes, it really is. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty hardcore.
I'll give my second, since you gave two. I have several that I really like. I think I like the Bast episode just because I like chances for Joseph to be highlighted as still having it. Like, he still got the sauce. So the episode with Bast where Joseph becomes a magnet. I like episodes.
I could not take that one seriously. I'm sorry.
And there's the other one where he gets a stand that's basically like a little tumor on his arm.
No, I would have skipped that one if it were me.
Oh, yeah?
I would have skipped it had I known what it was going to be about. See, there's another reason why I avoided this anime for so long is because I had seen so many clips on the internet and on TikTok. That was one of them, the disgusting tumor on his arm. I saw that. The other clip that was so famous that I saw and I had to skip over because I get such bad secondhand embarrassment was the Bast episode, because I know what happens when Avdol and...
where the boys have to kiss.
They were caught in public in precarious positions, and I could not. I had to fast forward through it.
If that's the case, we may not be able to watch Heated Rivalry.
Yeah, probably not. But regardless, that one was actually really funny. Despite that,
I love the episodes because I really like Joseph and I like the season of Battle Tendency. And seeing him as an older dude who's kind of lost some of his sauce from the former season with his hormone draining, but has this stand now. Hormone being the power system before stands, for those curious. Because Joseph was like the dude in season 2. Like, he is very powerful.
I'm the dude.
Yeah. His dudeness, Duderino.
I'm surprised we didn't do an episode on that when you got me to watch that. I couldn't stand that movie. I'm sorry.
It's one of my favorite movies, and I'm sad you did.
No.
It's one of my few failures. My board is pretty stacked for, like, you like the things I tell you you'll like. I get
that one and Pulp Fiction were no.
We didn't even finish Pulp Fiction.
We did finish Pulp Fiction.
We didn't.
Did.
They put the adrenaline shot in her heart, and you said turn it off. We didn't finish it.
I finished it later.
Did you?
I did.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, now you know. Revealing it on air. Anyway.
We'll have to talk about this later.
Another thing I want to highlight as far as encounters go, the Oingo Boingo episode was hilarious.
It's so good.
It was so good.
Oingo Boingo was such a good episode, Stan.
And I think it was so needed after so many of the encounters were such life or death. This ended up being so comical and hilarious. I loved it.
I will say, I think Araki is really good at managing the pressure of his series, right? Like, he lets the tension boil up to a point where it's like, this is really dramatic, intense, and then includes just enough comedy in the right places to keep the roller coaster fun. Yeah. Right? Like, if you're on a roller coaster and it's all going uphill and then dying down, that's not fun. It's the ups and downs,
loops and the corkscrews and all that
and
stuff.
And Araki is really good at that. He includes a lot of comedy and a lot of brevity and chances for you to get a breath and have a little fun in between the tense stuff. That's one of the things I think is one of his strengths, and that's not going to change as we go forward.
Another strength of his is writing really good one-liners.
He does write some good cheesy one-liners. That's very
really badass ones too. Actually,
do you have a favorite?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know JoJo had several of them that were like stone cold. Loved it.
So that was your favorite encounter. Is that different from your favorite stand?
Yeah, I mean, I love Star Platinum. Who doesn't?
Star Platinum is really good. I really like Hierophant Green. I love the design and the fact that it's just the voice of Gohan and he's just doing Gohan's voice.
Yeah, Star Platinum was definitely the favorite. I thought Magician's Red was really cool.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the genie is cool.
What was that one's name? Judgment.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool.
That one confused me for a little bit until I remembered like what he said, how his stand works is creating these things from the dirt of the earth, and that in the end it's all just dirt. So,
you know, I'm just thinking of this. This season has a lot in common with Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom.
How so?
It's encounter based. They go between themed villains as they travel a specific piece of geography. The themes are very clear.
Huh. Actually, yeah, they do have a lot of comparison.
It's a group of protagonists that are very close and their relationships and friendships matter a lot.
Yeah.
This is literally like in the moment I'm thinking about.
I actually 100% agree.
Stardust Crusaders and Yu-Gi-Oh! Have, specifically Duelist Kingdom, have a lot in common.
Yeah, but Pegasus and Dio are definitely on different levels of villainy.
You can't tell me Bandit Keith is not a stand user. Am I wrong? Is Bandit Keith a stand user?
He's not even that memorable in the end, except for being an American idiot.
Does Mako Tsunami have a stand name Come Sail Away? Tell me he doesn't.
No, but I do agree with you about the comparison between this season of JoJo's and the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic Yu-Gi-Oh!
Second season, technically. The first season is the Kaiba stuff before they go to Duelist Kingdom.
Well, that's still lumped in with season 1. Mm-mm. Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is. As somebody who this was one of her very first anime, yes, it is.
Yes, dear. I'll tell you, they have different arc names. That's all I'll say.
Well, yes, but sometimes it gets rolled into different seasons.
Okay. I think about arcs. I don't think about seasons.
Sure. I get that.
Anyways, is Dio the greatest antagonist in anime?
He's definitely up there. I was thinking about what's a worse villain that I can think of?
Griffith from Berserk.
Yes, obviously.
The bad dad from Full Metal.
Yes. I tried to think about really end of the world, end of the universe villains. And you know where my mind went? It went to Boo, actually.
Majin Buu?
Yeah. And I had wondered what made Boo so bad? It was because he was a loose cannon and he's a baby. To a certain extent, he didn't have the capacity for compassion or think about what his actions were doing. He was designed that way. Mm-hmm. With Dio, he knew exactly what he was doing and he was calculated about it.
You're exactly right. The thing about Dio is he grew up in a hard environment. And in any other anime, I think that Dio would have been the protagonist if it had been any other author. Because he's this character that grew up in poverty and with everything stacked against him. And in any other world, that would be the story of a dude who overcomes the odds and becomes a good guy. And in this, he's like, nah, my dad sucked. His dad was an alcoholic abuser. To be fair, Dio's childhood was terrible. Mm-hmm. But typically you have in any story, and I actually think this is one of the brilliances of Araki, you have this character who fits every trope of overcoming the odds. And he's like, nah, I'm a bad guy. And
I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah. He fully is just the world treated me bad, so I'm going to treat everybody bad. And he goes full bad. And he just gets worse. And every little bit of power he gets makes him worse. And
yeah, and it's kind of, you could also take into context another Dragon Ball Z major villain, Cell. He was designed that way, literally made in a lab that way. He was not built with capacity for any positive emotion. And, he was calculated with his actions as well, like Dio. But again, to also a certain extent, he did not realize or even think about the consequences of his actions. Dio knew what he was doing.
But Dio, at the point of 12 or 13 or whatever that he comes into the family, is brought into a loving and supportive family with Jonathan's dad, who loves him and fully embrace. And this is my family, our family has a lot of adopted kids in it. Mm-hmm. So it's I know the idea of bringing a child in and being you're part of our family and we love you. And he goes full Wuthering Heights Heathcliff.
Oh,
and it's just I hate everything.
Don't talk to me about Heathcliff. I hate that name. Oh my gosh.
But no, Dio is just so bad, and he breaks. You know what? I try not to bring up politics stuff.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
But Dio is Elon. Dio is Elon Musk. He's a man that started off in maybe not the best situation, but then had everything handed to him and is I could be a good dude because of this, but instead goes full friggin' villain. And people love him for it for some reason. A lot of people love him. If you tell me that Elon's putting flesh buds in a bunch of people's heads at Twitter, I'll believe you.
That's a gross thought. But I just don't like to think about that person in general, honestly.
No,
I see the comparison.
yeah,
though.
we got a lot of Dios in our country right now.
Unfortunately.
But he's just like objectively evil in such a blatant way. And it's like this narcissistic cult of personality. I think at one point Jonathan specifically says like you can get away from the fact that he's a vampire and he's immortal and has all this power. His real power is charisma. They say that a couple times, that his real power is that he knows how to riz people up.
I will say before I started watching any of this, the one few things that I recognized or knew about JoJo's
Can I say
no,
my God.
No, I want to say you thought your first kiss would be Jonathan Joestar, but it was me, Dio.
Can we though say how evil that is?
It is super evil. As a girl, I can definitely say that's evil.
How his first act to get up on his first major evil act to get one up on his adopted brother is to take away a woman's agency because his brother likes her.
And then in later seasons and in later episodes, he calls her swine.
It's so bad. It's so bad. He's so bad.
Ugh.
And then in the season you watched, of course, he's like a vampire lord. That's like a very D&D ass vampire lord.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This season could also be a D&D campaign, by the way.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily, for sure. Though a lot of anime could.
Going on though, the deaths. Of course, a lot of our main characters die. Again, I'll throw spoilers in there. We have the two Joestars and Polnareff, our Frenchman, live. Jean-Pierre Polnareff. We lose Avdol, our Egyptian. No, I don't know if he's actually Egyptian.
Yes, he is.
No, he was in Egypt when that happened. I don't think they ever say he's Egyptian.
I think it's just assumed.
I think he's maybe. I thought he was Moroccan.
Either way, he's Middle Eastern in some way.
African,
Middle Eastern. Okay.
But we lose Avdol.
Unfortunately.
We lose Iggy the dog. And we lose Kakyoin, Jotaro's classmate.
That was the longest drawn out death I had ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So the only three people that survive are our two JoJos and Polnareff.
That was no. I wanted to go through the screen and slap him so hard so many times.
I will say I hate that I feel like it was a bit of a bait to have Iggy almost die to the ISIS stand, the Hawk pet shop. There's a stand user that's an eagle named Pet Shop, a reference to the Beach Boys. And then he lives it barely and then dies to Vanilla Ice. Along with the fact that I don't know. I didn't like that they kind of teased us with, oh, he made it. And then kills him off alongside Avdol.
Avdol's death, look, not his first quote death. That was oh, that's so sad. Polnareff, quit being an idiot, and so on and so on. But the way he goes for real the second time, that made me so mad because they did him so dirty.
Polnareff is just such a Mary Sue of people dying for him.
I swear.
Over and over.
And he never learns his lesson.
No.
He never learns his lesson about listening to the people that passed on, about self-sacrifice, about save yourself and think before you go jumping in. It's the things that are not worth it. He doesn't learn a damn thing.
So for those unfamiliar, the other character is Jean-Pierre Polnareff, who starts off as an unwilling pawn of the villain due to mind control. He's a Frenchman whose sister was killed by a serial killer. And that's a big part of his character. His stand, I actually really love his stand.
His stand is cool.
Silver Chariot, the chariot from the Major Arcana, is a fast fencing stand.
It's really cool. He's not.
No, he's terrible. And I think he's directly inspired by Princess Bride. Especially, did you not realize that he was killed
No, but don't you dare make that comparison to one of my most beloved movies. Don't you do that.
His sister was killed by a five-fingered man.
No, you're talking about oh crap.
No, his sister was killed by a 5-fingered man.
No,
Same as
no, a man with 2 right hands.
Oh, still a guy with weird hands killed his family member,
And in
he's
The
out for
Princess
revenge?
Bride, it's the 6-fingered man.
Okay,
Inigo Montoya.
still, you know what I'm getting. He's Inigo Montoya. He's meant to be Inigo Montoya. Am I wrong? Are you just realizing this?
No, I knew that. I just hate that you brought that back up again.
Jean-Pierre Polnareff. You killed my sister. Prepare to die.
I hate it. I love The Princess Bride so much. I quote it all the time. It's a comfort movie. Why did you have to make that comparison?
Because it's true and right.
I hate it. Thanks. I hate it.
But no, he's the only non-JoJo that survives, which is terrible.
It doesn't physically feel right.
No,
at the end.
It should have been Avdol or Cockyween. It should have been the kid.
I would have been
Cockyween.
I would have been fine if it had just been the Joestars at the end.
Yeah, that would
have been more fitting. But why save? I genuinely have this question. Why save Polnareff and not the other 3? I get that there's an element of self-sacrifice here, but why not Polnareff?
We'll talk about it on a future episode. There is an answer.
I'm sure there is. It just, we're going into this anyway. The ending, that's the only thing, well, one of the 2 things that didn't feel right to me. The other thing was that we didn't get to see the reunion between Jotaro and his mama.
The thing that did feel right was the steamroller.
Oh my God. I can't believe that actually happened. I was not familiar with that meme when you brought that up.
There's a meme that is the thing of Dio, whose ability is to pause time, spends that whole time going and finding a steamroller to crush Jotaro under. It's so funny.
That was such a weird choice. Yeah. So random.
Well, anyways, Megan, where do you think the next season's going to go?
Well, I do think it's going to be going around different parts of the world. You mentioned before that in some season they're going to go to Italy. I don't know where the others are going to go. Because so far we've had Victorian England, we've had New York City / Mexico. And then with this one, we had Japan, India, the Middle East, Egypt. You know, we've been globetrotting already quite a bit. So I predict we're going to go explore even more regions of probably Europe. We'll go to Australia at some point. I mean, as far as some of the future JoJos go, you've told me of Josuke. I know of Jolene. What are some? I couldn't remember some of the other ones you mentioned.
That's it for now.
For now, okay. I'm expecting Giorno. Yes, you told me that one's quite the favorite of yours.
Giorno is my favorite, and we'll get into that in a future episode.
I'm expecting even a lot more weirdness that I'm just gonna have to like push past because it's a lot more weird character designs, a lot more weird quirks, mannerisms.
There will be a lot more weirdness for sure. I will tell you, I don't think this is a spoiler. It's more expectation setting. The next season, I told you that Araki likes to like switch it up. This season was the Around the World Tour season. The next season will take place entirely in one town.
You mentioned that, yeah.
It's heavily inspired by Sailor Moon. Mm-hmm. And it's meant to be a small town, like a Life in a Small Town series.
You do know that in the original run of Sailor Moon, they don't stay in the one town the entire series.
I realize that.
They go to the Arctic at some point.
I get that, but like early Sailor Moon or like early Sailor Moon.
Majority of it does happen in the same town. Yes, you're right.
Probably some inspiration from like Madoka Magica, things like that. But it is meant to be the small town anime where the story all takes place in one place, where Araki wanted to try to confine after Stardust, he wanted to confine his whole story to one place and really make the geography of that place matter. And
I think that's a good choice.
This is my second favorite season, and if I think about it real hard, it may become my first season, my first favorite. Diamond is Unbreakable is incredible. You're going to love it. You're going to hate the final villain.
Okay.
You're going to hate the final villain.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
It does have a murder mystery aspect.
Ooh, I like that. For context, we've actually, over the holidays, really got into like the Knives Out series quite a bit. So we were on like a murder mystery movie kick for a little while.
Episode on that?
No, we haven't.
Oh, we should.
We should.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I think tell us in the comments. Is that something you'd want to hear about? Our thoughts on the Knives Out movies? Let us know.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for you to watch Diamond is Unbreakable, and then eventually get to my favorite season, which is Golden Experience. I love the names, the fact that the seasons
they're different. They're different.
And I'll tell you my favorite. So one of the things you're going to notice as we go forward from here is I mentioned all the stands are named after bands and albums and songs. But because of American copyright in the American versions, they change them. They tweak them.
So it's going to be kind of a thing where like, oh, what's this named after? I bet I can guess type thing.
Yes. So my favorite, Shining Diamond is meant to be, it's meant to be Shine On You Crazy Diamond is Josuke's stand. But they just call him Diamond. But my favorite in a future season that we're far from, so you can keep an eye for this, is the stand that's known as Spice Girls in a future season. Can you guess what the Americanization of Spice Girls is?
Tahine ladies.
I unleash my sand, Spicy Lady.
Oh, I was close. Okay.
It's so good. Spicy Lady is so funny to me. There's so, or what's another one? Unspeakable acts done for a low price is probably the worst one. Do you even know what the song? Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that's the roughest one. It's so bad. It's so good.
Well, speaking of stand names, what about yours?
What would your stand be?
Yours first.
I have thought a lot about this, and I wanted to pull from I have a few albums that I think of as perfect. They are albums that I can't imagine changing anything about them. And there's two that came to mind. One of which would be a copyright issue because it's from another property. And I've been listening to a lot because they just came out with their new album. So the first one would be Proto Men. Mm-hmm. And I guess I would call that stand actually based on a song from the first album. I'd call the stand Hope Rides Alone.
Does it have to be named after a song though?
No, I wanted them to be based on music.
Okay.
Or a movie. I would have been okay with a movie.
Okay.
But no, I settled on an album, and this is my chance to proselytize one of my favorite albums that I think everyone should listen to, which is from the band Titus Andronicus. My stand would be called The Monitor, which is a perfect album.
And what would your stand do? What would its power be?
It would summon a big-ass boat. It would summon a warship. The stand would be a warship. Because the album is named, the album is inspired by a combination of 90s sitcoms and the Civil War. So the album is named The Monitor based off the first iron-sided naval vessel.
Okay.
For war. The Monitor was the first iron-side warship.
Okay.
So yeah, my stand would be The Monitor, and it would summon an old Ironside.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Or send you to New Jersey if we're really getting into that album.
Specifically, New Jersey.
Listen to the album; it'll make sense.
Okay. For me, this is.
I've already said your stand would be called Stray Kids.
Well, it would just be The Stray Kid, and for the English dub, because of copyright, it would have to be called The Wandering Child. But for its power, I had to think about this, but this made the most sense because of experiences at K-pop concerts and how loud I like to play K-pop music in my car. Its power would be that it lets out, depending on the situation, it can let out both high frequency and low frequency sounds that it would break glass, it would shatter eardrums, it would have a sound power.
There's a stand you're going to love.
Really?
Diamond is unbreakable.
Okay, cool. I just predicted the future. Hey, I did it again.
wait till you see. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but that is a power that we're going to see.
No, yeah, it would be called the Stray Kid or the Wandering Child.
So there are stands later. I don't think we've seen one yet. There are stands that are like multiple entities. So it could be Stray Kids.
That's a lot for one person to keep up with.
For instance, there's a stand
because there's 8 of them in the band. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
My actual favorite stand user is from and it's probably the reason I like Golden Experience the most, is not for Giorno. It's for Guido Mista. And his stand, Sex Pistols, is six things that live in his gun, and they ride on the bullets and kick them to change their trajectory. So like he can shoot, and one of his 6 stands rides on the bullet, and if he misses, like it'll go past the person, and then the stand like a football player will kick the bullet.
That is silly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Sex Pistol is my favorite stand.
That is such a boy coded thing.
Yeah.
I swear.
In the Americanization called 6 Bullets.
Well, I guess that about wraps it up, doesn't it? We got to look forward to your Twilight book report. I'm going to have to come up with the questions on that one.
I'm so excited for
We're going to have to, you know what? Tomorrow night, while the child,
you have to do it before I lose my memory.
I was going to say we could do it tomorrow night, while the child is at your grandparents, so we can look forward to almost probably a back-to-back episode of.
Our Corey is so done with us talking.
You scared him a minute ago. He's sleeping next to us.
Samwise is laying next to us and just like, would y'all shut up? I'm almost asleep.
Well, you wanted to be in here, buddy. He's so attached to me, really. He's a mama's boy. Anyways, to really sum this all up, like we actually do, you ready for this joke?
I'm here for it.
Take any guesses what this joke's going to be?
Nope.
Okay, here we go. What's Joseph Joestar's favorite sandwich?
I don't know.
A ham on cheese.
Oh! That's so good. That's so good. And that's all for this episode of Not Another Couples. Bleh. And that's all for another episode of Not Another Couples podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
You like me if I like you. You like me if I like you. Yeah. If I like you. If I like you. You like me if I like you. You like me. Why don't we?